All right, welcome back. Me and Parker, we're here in a restaurant, Mexican restaurant, talking again. There's going to be a couple of topics that we're going to be talking about here. So, we started off, we're going to a topic about, this just, my other phone should still be linked up here. Good, it is. So, what was the thing? Oh, finances in the church. But we got on an interesting topic here I thought we should record about immortality and such as that. So, as I said, I wanted to kind of take a step back here because I think this was good. Did you want to start, or should I go back to what I was saying? Go ahead. So, I stumbled across something literally yesterday that kind of made me realize if we were ever to become immortal, we would want to have it tied to something with less baggage, trauma, damage, the next body that we would supposedly get as far as the Bible, with what the Bible says. And I think there is a lot of truth to that because you don't want to live forever and suffer or struggle in some way. It's like you would be living in constant pain of some kind. Anyway, yeah, Parker, go ahead.
Well, what I was saying is like, I was saying, within our lifetimes, the technology, the technology to live a longer life, will be developed within our lifetimes. So this is what I'm saying, so far as like, everything from gene editing to telomere regeneration to stem cell therapy. All this stuff.
Possibly something like Cyberpunk 27 with implants directly to your mind, linking to whatever, like the internet or whatever.
Yeah, all that technology is slowly being developed. Thanks to shout out to Elon Musk on that one. So also,
yeah, true. Might have to give him props to that if he ever does develop implants. That would successfully. It's like replacing faulty organs in that sense, where I can understand okay, maybe not immortality, but like prolonging your life to the point where things. I thought that would be going somewhere good, but I'm having trouble with that.
Well,
yeah. Just prolonging your life.
I'll send you a link. They already gave a demonstration. I forgot what it was. I'll have to shoot you the link to it so people can see the reference. But it showed a video clip of how they now have the technology where the machine can literally read your thoughts. So that's how. So it showed this dude hooked up with a little helmet and little diodes planted, and he literally started thinking what he wanted to say, and the computer actually picked up and started printing it on the screen of what he was saying, of what he was thinking.
This is not.
So this technology is no longer science fiction. It is becoming real, and it's becoming real very quickly. And it's only going to be, and actually the time frame for this type of technology is only going to condense. It's only going to be, the time frames are going to collapse with the help of artificial intelligence and the new technologies that are coming. We're now entering, this hyper growth, this hyper development of technology, where stuff is being developed. It used to be on a yearly basis, now it's down to a monthly basis, now it's down to a weekly basis. Now stuff is just transforming on just almost a daily basis.
I think
you have to, and we as humans, some humans are having trouble trying to keep up and processing because the future is flying towards us so quickly that a lot of us mentally and spiritually start to shut down and feel left out. I mean, you even have individuals now in their 30s who are now trying to regress back to like the good old days of the 1990s or something, because
things were simple.
Things were a little bit simpler. You got some segments of society of people in their late 20s and 30s. They want dumb phones. They want a flip phone back from like the 90s or the early 2000s. the development of this rapid technology is even overwhelming our younger generations to the point where they're like, say, wait a minute, slow down. I can't process this that fast. I think the only generation that can process it because it's their natural, it's their normal, is Generation Alpha, which is anyone from...
They're growing with it, literally. It's in their life from beginning to end.
It's their normal. These children anywhere from infancy all the way up to, 14, 15 years of age. They're the only generation where they're going to be used to technology instead of we're used to software. They're going to grow up with this. They're going to grow up with the technology that's called everywhere.
They're using
EVERYWARE. Everywhere.
Using multiple screens, doing multitasking in that sense. I mean, their literal skills, their ability to write and socialize is declining, but the ability to use technology is what I understand increasing.
Well, take it a step further.
They're replacing a lot with technology.
Well, yeah. Again, that goes back to artificial intelligence, and especially with independent artificial intelligence that will allow, individuals anywhere from business, whether you're an influencer, whether you are in business, whether you're just doing stuff in general. With the advent of artificial intelligence, it will literally allow you to be everywhere because now the technology, you have AI that can replicate your voice almost perfectly. You have AI that can replicate your image almost perfectly, and then on top of that, animate it. So
there's Replica. Replica was a program designed that I think they tried to turn it into like a dating app of some kind, but the idea there was initially by a friend who lost another friend, and she wanted to try to preserve his, I believe it was his, a guy, preserve his memories, and that's what was the inspiration behind all this. So in a sense, having your own, I think it's Replica, but I could be wrong.
Or Avatar.
But having a copy of yourself on the internet is in some ways appealing because you're preserving a part of who you are.
And also you can preserve...
That's tied to like having your own legacy in a sense.
In a way, and that's true. And on top of that, you have individuals. Say, take Tony Robbins for example. He is busy creating a artificial intelligence replica of himself.
I'm not familiar with him, by the way.
Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker.
From what platform? Motivational.
He's a motivational. He's been around for like 40 years.
Nope. If you send me something there, I could take him out. But I'm not familiar with him at all.
Okay. Yeah, he's been around forever. But the point is this: is that he's uploading all his talks, all his personal notes, all his diaries, everything that any thought that he's ever written down and still recorded. He's uploading it into this AI replica of him. So thus, when he passes away, he will actually have a generative AI version of himself that will literally become him and be him after he's gone, and will continue to give advice, will continue to put out content.
Yeah.
And that's based on who he is. And this AI will be able to think and come up with new content, put out new content, and put out new podcasts and everything, just as if he was alive, and also be able to take his content into modify the content going into the future. As society changes, as relationship changes, his information will still be out there and still be modified, and still and like I say, be able to create new content based on how based on societal changes, and he'll be able to put it in any language. It'll be omnipresent. He'll be able to have omnipresent conversations, and so that's just an example. So let me bring this down to a more.
May I interject here, because this is a very good thought, in a form of a question. So do you think the digital immortality, the AI aspect, do you think it could ever outgrow the original? Because storing everything online with AI and programs and all that, I'm thinking here.
Yes, thank you.
I'm thinking here at some point, if they're just trying to contain the original part of that person, they would. Well, what I'm trying to say is they would hit a limit of some kind. But this, I'm having a thought here that if they just keep going on and on, this eventually would grow just like a regular person.
Yes.
And it would go beyond the original creator.
Yes.
It would almost essentially become its own person at a certain point in time.
That's the intent.
I don't know if I should be awed or horrified by that. Like, this is who I was originally, and then like 25 years later, it's like the AI is completely different than who I am.
Yeah, I mean, well, based on, well, you can say that's the thing with Tony. For example, with Tony Robbins, his life is his life is the foundation. All his work is the foundation. So yeah, the purpose is for the AI to take his all his 60 plus years of life.
Wow.
And the purpose is for the artificial AI to grow beyond him and to develop beyond him based on his life experiences. The AI would be able to predict based on his life experiences, based on his work, what would he develop into 50 years beyond, 100 years beyond. And that's what the AI, and that's what Tony Robbins wants the AI to do. Ooh. He wants it to be better than him. He wants it to be able to put out better content, better information to help society beyond him, beyond what he would be capable of doing.
And
but yet his life is the foundation, based off his foundation.
And there's nothing unethical or immoral about this because it's him volunteering it himself. It's no one else like forcing. I'm going to bring this. Feel free to ever move on or whatever, but I have to bring this up. This is at the very core, part of the very core of Cyberpunk 2077, the Soul Killer program and all that. The whole idea is the rich can afford immortality. They can preserve themselves. And yet you, the main character, are a part of a heist. It's gone wrong and you end up stealing this quote-unquote relic. You slot the chip into your head because the case it was in got damaged and all that. So essentially you are stuck with Johnny Silverhand, the construct in your head that is slowly overriding who you are. But the twist was you got shot in the head, died, and the construct rewired and replaced the damaged part, bringing you back from the dead, so to speak. So in that sense, the whole thing is it's like, what do you do with the chip in your head? You can try to, there's a lot of different options you can go down, but part of all that was the whole, you can become immortal. You could preserve who you were in the construct. You saw this happen not just with Johnny Silverhand, the construct that was put in your own head, but if you play out a certain ending in the game, Sabura from the Arasaka faction, he can forcibly take over his son's body and basically insert his mind into the body. You saw that, or you can see that when the daughter slips a chip in at the end if you choose to go down a certain route. And it's like he's hijacking his son's body. And oh man, talk about moral complications there as far as, is that right or wrong, hijacking a body. I'm not going to touch that. I'm just saying the immoral aspect, being able to live forever, that is definitely a way that interests a lot of people. And this is tied up in Cyberpunk, an awesome video game that started out with bugs and glitches and crap that has totally changed, done a 360, that a lot of people, including myself, just say, hey, check it out. I mean, the plot, the story, all of that. Anyway, I had to say that because the whole thing about living forever is tied into the game. And you can see that. It's a story that you can just go through, listen, talk to, all of that. Some of the quests, including Sinnerman, I think. Basically, I went through this 3 days ago. You can go through a quest helping this serial killer find redemption by doing a crucifixion. And it's like you can walk right on through that, and you could mess that quest up. You could go through it, but oh man, I ended up just accidentally going on through that, and I had to look it up to make sure I wasn't messing it up. But I was like, holy crap, I went through this almost perfectly. All I just have to do is wait for a phone call, come back. Yeah, anyway, I muted that when I went through that end there. But yeah, crazy, right? I know that's just going away from the whole immortality thing and away from the finances and the church topic that this was originally about, but geez, got some good stuff here.
And you know what, you're absolutely right. And that's a great analogy. And to bring that back to the real world, that type of technology will come into play. Say for example, when just like Tony Robbins is uploading and stuff, a lot of people, you can upload, say, your parents' life into this technology. And if they kept diaries or they made notes, all the pictures, all the family videos, recordings, anything that's documented, and regardless of format, if you upload it to this AI, when they pass away, a lot of people will opt to be able to still go to the avatar version of the AI and still have a conversation with their mom or their dad. And the face will still be animated and be able to do the same facial expressions, use the same inflection, the same voice, the tonality, the whole 9 yards, perfect, just about perfectly. And the AI will also develop and continue to grow and develop based off that person, what that individual would be if they kept living. Again, using their real life as the foundation, and yeah, the AI would become just as good and eventually better than the original parent. And a lot of people are opting to have that for that comforting, where they wish they could talk to their mom, they wish they could talk to their dad. Now, depending on how you look at it, fortunately or unfortunately, they'll be able to still be able to break out their phone or their smart device or whatever and say, "Hey, Dad, I need your help." And that AI version of their dad or mom will pop up and be able to give them realistic advice, hold real-time conversations, just as if they were alive. Because a lot of people, in some situations, they just cannot live without their loved one. Of course, the same. In a way, it's sad. Follow me. In a way that is sad because it eliminates the situation of the finality of death. And AI, in a way, kind of lets you cheat it a little bit, because instead of having closure and saying a permanent goodbye, now with AI technology, you're still able to keep that parent, that loved one, that child, a pet. Go fill in the blank. Where you can still have that conversation with that individual, or even with that, or just having the animal there. Some people they'll do their pets. Let's just be real about it. But in a way, if you lost your child, to be able to take those pictures and stuff and bring your child back, and in a way, also in a way, they have the technology where the child can still grow and develop. It's called digital souls. So to give you an example of this,
Minority Report had a lot to do with what we're talking about here.
They actually birthed a digital infant, and it cries, it gets scared, and what they're going to do is that they want that child to develop into adult in real time. So
that'll be interesting to see. They're doing that right now, right?
Yes. So right now, this child's like 4 or 5 years old. So imagine if
you can get me links here. Oh wow, I'll be tacking it down below for sure.
So imagine, say unfortunately that little boy dies. You take all the pictures, all the videos you have of him, and you upload it, and the AI will be able to virtually grow and develop him based on his bone structure, what he would look like, how tall he would be, everything, all the way up to adulthood. And so, and you're going to have, unfortunately, you will have people who will opt for that because it's better than nothing at all. So let me pause right there.
Thank you. I don't see that as a bad thing. There are two things that come to mind. One, if you're trying to bypass death, I believe there are repercussions. The first thing that comes to mind is what Jordan Peterson said in one of his one of those lessons, those videos that are basically called something about being a monster, about having to overcome sorrow and tragedy, so that when the person close to you dies, you can survive, and not you're just going to be a broken mess because they died. That comes to mind, but the other one. The other thing is, in Minority Reports, the guy who Tom Cruise played as, he and his wife in the movie got divorced because they could not reconcile once their kid had died for whatever reason.
Got kidnapped.
Yeah, right. That was a big part. Yeah, I remember that. Got kidnapped and then killed, and he ended up carrying around, or he had in his office or something, like these videos, high-tech videos of his wife, him, and the kid, and just laughing, having a great time.
Yep, holograms.
The holograms. It is amazing as far as recording and preserving, but going a step further and basically having its own identity, or replacing the identity of that individual that was previously alive. Mm-hmm. I'm only unsure about that simply because I don't know the full ramifications of that myself, but having that close on by, that means a lot. That means something to a lot of people, including myself, because they're never completely gone. Mm-hmm. Now, immortality, I guess, could hold on to that in some way, shape, or form, conceptually speaking. Never just always being there, never just disappearing. There's something to be said about that. I'm going to go back to Wolverine from the X-Men about, like, ignore the fact that he's immune and all that, but, like, having a healing ability that keeps you, that basically slows down your aging and all that, that's a lot more feasible. And speaking, like, what he went through as a character, having all that trauma, the metal put around his entire skeleton and surviving, going through like World War I or World War II or both. I don't know which one. The guy's been, like, his backstory is written like he's been alive for years, longer than like literally everyone. Mm-hmm. The Marvel, I want to say it's a Marvel universe. I don't remember his complete backstory, but the animated X-Men series in the 90s, I watched that as a kid, and I loved Wolverine. I really did. Just an awesome character. I actually tied a clip on there like 6 months ago about how Wolverine ended up believing in God. It was a really cool, like, 2-minute clip. I was like, yo, check this out. It's in a post, not a video. I put a post up there. It's good. Oh, they used to talk about God all the time back in, like... Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So they used to talk about God all the time back with, like, comics and stuff. Oh, man. But immortality, the point I was getting originally is, you live forever. You're going to be accruing some sort of trauma and damage and issues and problems. Like, you will live your way, but you'll be picking up stuff along the way. It could be like people picking up STDs, slept with the wrong person, and next thing you know, you're struggling with this. Living with that for potentially forever? Ooh, that's hard. And on top of that, it's almost like you would turn into a Yoda. Like, you would lose friend after friend after friend because you're outliving them to the point where you're like, I'm good, no more attachments for me.
Okay, so the reversal to that theory. Okay, so you catch say herpes or HIV. That lasts only as long until finally the cure comes along before it. So either here or abroad. So that technology will develop to eventually eradicate those viruses, for example. Also, another people who like to say, "Oh, I wouldn't want to live forever because I'll outlive my friends and my family and all this other nonsense." Okay, so guess what?
That would hurt, though.
Yeah, it would. But as you live long enough, it becomes part of the process. That's what you signed up for. You're gonna outlive people.
If you were
If-
tough enough to handle that.
if you're tough enough to handle, or you develop the life skills to handle that, because that's what you signed up for. You knew that would happen. Or unless your friends sign up and they're able to invest in that technology as well and live with you. But guess what? You're not going to be the only one that's going to do it. You're going to have.
Yeah, well, if the technology becomes available, you're right. You are absolutely right. This is not like on a case by case. Like this person has powers, this one has a special ability. Yes, you are absolutely right.
And guess what? You're going to have support groups. You're going to have other individuals who live long lives, who live close to immortal life. So you're going to make friends with them because they're not going to die. You're two going to have this. You're going to find like-minded people, like-minded individuals who believe in the philosophy of living beyond their years. So you're gonna make new friends. All you're gonna do, and you're gonna make friends that last.
If there's technology made where support groups are actually required to be part of it, I would have a lot of questions about that.
I didn't say required. I mean, it's just gonna be a natural byproduct where you're gonna be with people who live forever. They're like-minded people.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you did this. Hey, I do it too. Hey, let's be friends.
Think of it more like a community group rather than support. Yeah,
it'd be community support. It's just to me, it's no difference than than the men's group the men's groups you've been to. It's a community. It's a support system. Why? Just like you got communities and support for business, community support for religion. Why not have community and support for immortality? It's just a natural byproduct. It's just a given. So I'm not worried about people who come and go out of my life. It happens now in your mortal life anyway. So why get hung up on something that happens just in your regular life? So naturally, you should be used to that if you're living close to an immortal life. If you live close to several hundred years, people who choose to be a part of it, great. Those who choose that, I'll still be your friend. I'll be your friend until you pass away. I'll miss you. It'll be cool. But guess what? I'll make new friends.
I have to interrupt here for a second. I do not want to forget about this.
Okay.
There was a part covered on the Immortal show. I don't even know what show it is. Something we did with Immortals. Someone was rescued from the bottom of the ocean, stuck in a iron cast where they would wake up, drown, die, and it was over a period of like 200, 300 years until she was rescued. Being stuck in a scenario like that, if you were immortal, would be awful. I have to interject like that being a possibility.
Okay, that could be a possibility, but with wisdom, you will learn to avoid situations like that.
Hopefully.
And
people are stupid, people are prejudiced, people are very hateful, and as Terrence Popp says, people are just angry, hairless apes or something like that.
But with that type of knowledge, you will get a heightened sense of discernment. You will learn that you cannot hang out with everybody, that you cannot be associated. It's kind of like the movie stars, Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. They cannot hang out with everybody. They have to move in certain select circles. They have to move and be very selective in the situations that they involve themselves in. Same thing with business people. They have to be very selective and be very, somewhat risk adverse. And so when you become immortal, you have to take on those same principles. You have to be very selective who you hang out with. You have to be very selective in the situations that you involve yourself with. And things have to be very calculated. Go ahead.
The only thing I want to say is with actors, time is money, so it's not always a risk, but it's just, do they have time? Yes or no.
Talking about in their real life.
We have a limited amount of time per each day. So as far as like quick high and by versus something else, they may not actually have the time because you caught them in the middle of going from point A to point B. But other than that, yeah, I totally hear you. I agree with you. I do. I'm just saying actors are very busy people, and when you see them, they're always in the middle. Okay, with the exception of them sitting down eating or whatever. waiting for a flight.
And living their family, they have families too, living their normal life. Because like again, acting is a job, but I mean, they know what they signed up for. They know when they just to digress a little bit.
I think some of the young guys and the young girls, they get taken advantage of, like to the point where Macaulay Culkin, he stepped away after the Home Alone series, and I know some of the other young actors are like, I was not prepared to handle some of the stuff, and they talk about their own experiences about why they stepped away from the spotlight.
Yeah, but their personal life, Macaulay Culkin's personal life is garbage anyway. His parents were nutcases, and so but
the media didn't help at all.
And
really
so that's another.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant to say. This is the point. When you are, it's not just like acting, but acting is a business. So whether you're running a company, you are the head of a church, if you are, just someone who's, the head of your family, you have to exercise discernment. You have to exercise and be very selective who you spend your time with and the situations that you allow yourself to get involved in. So that is no different than when you're living an immortal life. As you live beyond your years, as you start to get to the year 2100 and beyond, you're going to start to be very selective who you hang out with. You're going to be very using discernment in all areas of your life. That's the point.
Yeah.
So and really that's a philosophy that you should do now in your mortal life. You need to be very selective who you hang out with, who you choose to be around, the situations you choose to be involved in, because it can get you hemmed up or killed or and put in a very serious legal and or financial situation. So these are time-tested principles that you need to use in your mortal life, much less your immortal life. You get what I'm saying? This is stuff you need to do now.
We all need to do now. It's not just me, for sure.
No, when I say you, I mean I'm speaking to everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, that to me, the stuff you're talking about is just a given. Period.
When tying this to scripture, this whole thing about immortality seems to be tied to immortal body, not just the same body that we have now. I guess in a sense, having a clean slate with an immortal body does make a lot of sense, but there's a lot of ifs, a lot of questions, a lot of unknowns as far as what exactly would go from this earth to the next earth. Because that's what I understand as far as scripture says with like the new body that comes to new heaven, the new earth, all of that. It could very well be years, hundreds, if not thousands of years from now. Because remember the tribulation that's talked about in the Bible was saying, and then like the 1,000 years, the whole thing was saying let back loose onto the earth and all that. Oh man. I think immortality, I'm not going to say it's going to get in the way or it's going to cause problems or issues. I'm just saying like the ramifications of all this, I personally can only go to a certain point before my mind just says I can't even like begin to understand some parts beyond all that. If I were to live for hundreds of years myself, I know I would, exactly what you're saying, I'd be a lot more careful, I'd be a lot more observant of my surroundings, where I was at. I would be playing the long game. And I would be probably a lot more quiet than normal. I wouldn't even care about recognition or publicity. Because I would not want my face all over the news. And then someone be like, hey, I recognize you from 30 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. Oh. I've already seen videos of like questionable things found in history. The more famous one is the woman walking and looked like she was talking on a cell phone. The picture of the guy that's completely, I don't remember what his name is, what he's called, but he's in this black and white picture. And it looks like he's in like modern day outfit with blazers, a jacket, with a style. He's completely out of place among his other peers. There's even something else that was found in the pyramids too, I think, if I remember. It was like a pin, a label, I want to say a shoe imprint as well. Some very interesting things that are just completely out of place, out of time. Like, how could this have existed in the past when this is like a design of a sneakers that you would find from the 1990s? All these questions, jeez. That involves like time travel, not like immortality though. I got off topic. Oh, jeez. Anyway, is there anything else to add to this? Because, this is a good topic, but I feel like I don't want to deviate too far off. I'll be stuck here forever. Oh, proving my point right. Immortality exists. Okay, so pretty much continuing where we took a pause and stopped at and all that. I think there's a lot of good things you could bring up. Not all of it's going to be relevant because let's keep some things in mind. Genetics, mutations, living a couple of years longer, yes, but actually immortality, working towards it. It's like, if this was to exist, how would it look like and what would it be like and all of that. Honestly, I think unless they do some sort of like cure-all genetic, find some, what was it, Doom? The movie or whatever, they found a way for immortality to exist and you would have to take some of this stuff every so often. Warframe, it was Kuva. Take Kuva, you can become immortal, but you're basically hijacking. You're taking liquid or substance that allow you to hijack other people's bodies. So you're immortal by taking other people, taking over a newer, cleaner, fresher body. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah, okay. That's going to be the future of immortality right there. I'm hijacking your body!
And you know what? Somewhere down the road, that would probably become a reality.
Oh, God. Imagine the rich paying out the poor people, be like, we'll give you X amount of money, we'll make assurances here, let us take over your body.
But, you know, the future I'm thinking of that would probably be more realistic eventually in the next 100 years or so, but, you know, about a year, 21, 24, would be a future like Elysium.
Elysium, I haven't seen the movie.
With Matt Damon.
It's a part of a trilogy, right?
No. Maybe the book is, but as far as the movie,
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
It has Matt Damon, Jodie Foster. So really, for those who have not seen the film, it's literally a world of the have and have-nots. You're either super rich or you're the working poor, working for the global corporations, or
kind of like Dubai, from what I'm hearing about.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But all the rich people live on this gigantic space city called Elysium, and up there, they actually have cities like this. They're clean, they're pristine. People live in their lovely houses. They drive their lovely vehicles. It's their perfect little space utopia.
Yeah.
And they have these machines, these beds where you lay down, it scans your body. Oh, you have this developing, you have that developing, and it simply goes through there and just wipes it out, and just does the gene editing and just totally renews and refreshes your body, and you get up and you keep on going. So the premise is that obviously the people on Earth, they're racked with diseases and ailments and physical and mental disabilities, and so
cancer.
So now, and it was a fight for those individuals, for select individuals to be able to get to Elysium and to be able to heal their child or heal their loved ones. And
I gotta go see this now.
And so now, that's pretty much the premise. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but that was pretty much, that's a realistic future that I most likely see happening in the next 150 years. That's going to be a real thing.
Gene editing already is a thing from what I'm hearing.
But I'm talking about rapid, where you're able to lay down on some bed and the machine is able to just instantly fix it.
I don't know if instantly fixing anything. That's like the whole slight side topic, but it's relevant. That's like what exactly about like injecting yourself with stim packs that you see in video games? There is Shoddy Cast did this whole thing breakdown as far as what's in stim packs and how that's actually probably unhealthy in the long run. You're injecting yourself with that would instantly heal you, instantaneously fixing your body. What exact?
Okay, so so let me interject on that. When I don't know what your
Instantaneous healing.
Okay, so but you said from some type of genetic stem packs. I don't know what that means. I don't know if you're getting stem cells.
I was comparing what you're saying to instant healing in video games. That's it.
Okay, so speaking from like, okay, so now let's bring that back to reality. There are now stem cell clinics, that are in Central and South America, that are overseas, and so thus when you go to these places, and let's say in South America, where instead of saying instant, it's not instant rehabilitation or instant healing. When you let me give you this. Give you this one scenario.
Yeah.
There was this dude who was suffering from his liver was dying.
Yeah.
So and his abdomen was swollen. He only had like a couple of I don't know months to live, some crap like that. So let me give you an example of almost close to instant healing. He went down to South America and he went and got the stem cell injections.
Recorded case, right?
This is a documented case. He went and got the stem cell therapy done. They injected him with purified stem cells that were top notch, whatever. When they injected him, he sat there with an IV drip with the stem cells going into his body, going in there, fixing and repairing everything. By the time he left, by the time they got him back in the car, I think the whole thing was like 90 minutes to 2 hours, something like that. By the time he got back in the car and started driving back to the hotel, the swelling started going down. By the time the following day, midday, like 24 hours later.
They had to do some sort of surgery, though.
No. Literally, 24 hours later, the swelling was almost gone, or practically gone.
I would think they would have to apply it to the site of the issue on the liver.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The stem cells go in and automatically start seeking out and repairing everything.
So no injections, no surgery?
No, the only injection was through IV.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, outside of that, there was no other injections.
Yeah, there was no other injections.
48
hours later, he was back on the phone talking, holding conversations. His body was operating pretty much normal. All his levels started correct. This is now. This is now.
Replace? Yeah. That's a.
So marinate on that for a second. So that's almost
I've been marinating on that
instantaneously.
for years. Maybe not what you said, but the whole topic, years.
So you went from you only have a few weeks left to live to like, oh, now you got you
extended warranty on life.
You've now added whatever decades back to your life.
You kept whatever was shortening your life from permanently shortening. It's just now a footnote in your past.
And this technology exists for that old football injury, an old war injury from combat. Now you can get the stem cell therapy where it can go in there and correct what your body was not able to correct on its own, and give your body the resources and the DNA information to go back and re-heal those injuries almost perfectly.
I hear you. I agree with you. I think that is the future. But I would also have to say, with the way Cyberpunk 2077 introduced Ripper Docs, in some ways it is more costly and expensive to replace your organic body parts with possibly hard, next to impossible to find other body parts as well. Because for organ transplants and donations, sometimes the list is very long and hard to get into. And so the idea there is, instead of replacing faulty, failing body parts that are just, they need to be replaced, why not just simply replace them with metal material, inorganic material? Like, for example, if your eyesight's failing, you're being blind, they have Kuroshi eye implants that allows you to see in a couple different things. You can zoom in, you can see like heat signatures, that sort of thing. Why not just replace what's faulty entirely with technology?
Okay, so let's add a realistic spin to that. In the future, that can be an option, and a lot of people will. Have you ever seen Ghost in the Shell? Ghost in the Shell.
I used to follow that when I was a kid. I stopped. I fell off.
You ever see the animation?
Love it. Yeah.
Okay, so this will be the thing, and you know how they have all the augmented, technology.
Yep.
Where so this will be the realistic spin of that. In the future, you will have the option. You will have the option if you want to spend the money for the heat signature, the eye scan. You can zoom in and see the mosquito fart on the top of that building across the street. Then fine, But for those who's like, no, I want to, just like people want to be vegan and whatever, you're gonna have people like, no, I prefer to be all natural.
All natural.
So
no mixing, no matching.
No, I'm not. I don't want the.
There's still a failure rate regardless.
I don't want the genetic implant or the cybernetic implant. I want to be as natural as possible.
Yeah.
So thus the option is, I can still take your DNA. I can still take your genetic material and grow you a new eyeball, grow you a new liver. If the stem cells cannot fix and repair the liver that is there, we can literally take your DNA and grow you a new liver, grow you a new body part, and implant it in you, and your body won't reject it because it recognizes it as its own.
It would probably be a higher chance of success rather than failure due to rejection.
It'll be a 100% success rate because it's your DNA. It's a liver or body part grown from your DNA. So your body will not reject it.
Let me pull up that rare ass case. What if you're Deadpool? You're constantly dying, dude.
Oh God.
I'll stop. He's constantly dying. Why is he not dead yet?
So you're gonna have people who are gonna opt for the cybernetic, enhancements, the growth streak. But also you're gonna opt for people who want all natural. I'll put it like this: almost all natural, where they can do the gene editing, they can do the DNA modifications. They can do the modifications on a DNA level, where they can make you genetically stronger without the implants. They can make your vision better without the implants.
That would change sports dramatically.
Or like I said, they'll take DNA from other animals, like they modify and splice a little bit of lizard DNA. You cut your finger off, it'll grow back in 3 to 6 months.
Splice is a movie that talked a little bit about modifications, gene editing, and how there was a monster that was created from human/other DNA, and it grew up and it was a very interesting movie. Splice is not for the faint of heart, but it's not completely gory. It's a great movie that talks exactly about what you're talking about here.
Because they're doing it now in China.
Hopefully, they're taking the precautions and all of that.
They are modifying. They're able to take an embryo in development and able to determine what that individual will look like, their IQ level. And they're able to go in there now and modify and genetically modify the embryo for that individual to be smarter, stronger. If they have male pattern baldness, eliminate that. If they have whatever, they're able to analyze that embryo's DNA and whatever they're susceptible to, heart disease, cancer. They're able to go in there and edit their genes and wipe all that out. So when that individual is born, that person will live the most healthiest life in existence.
As long as it's an actual person and they're allowed to grow and they're not going to be harvested for their parts. Because I've heard some things about.
All right, Matrix.
I swear I've heard some things. I've seen some things about harvesting of body parts. In fact, I want to say I've heard some of that's actually going on. the Planned Parenthood and the abortion centers.
That's happening here domestically, but it's mostly overseas. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Unfortunately,
if we want to go down this road, so
no,
fine. So okay,
not for this topic. No, but
just super briefly.
Yeah.
This one, and this is from almost 20 years ago. This individual. I think he needed ironic. I think he needed a liver. I just say it was a liver.
Yep.
So, remember when they had that human display where they showed the skeletons with the ligaments and everything, and it was like this thing that was like they were like traveling the world with. It was called the human whatever, and it showed at the time allegedly what the body looks like without skin on it. And they showed the muscles, and it was traveling there. Those were real individuals.
I have not seen that. All I heard about
that was about 20 plus years ago, and they stopped it because those people on display, they were real humans that they had killed and executed for that in China for whatever reason. So let me take it. So, and they did harvest their organs. So this is what they did. This guy said, hey, he went over. And I think his doctor said, if you go over there, I won't treat you anymore. He's like, I don't care. He's like, you're not in my situation. If you were dying, and I told you had like 2-3 months to live, what would you do? And the doctor shut up. He's like, it was nice having you as my doctor. Goodbye. He took his ass over to China. When he got there, he paid the price. He paid whatever the whole thing was. They set him up in a nice hotel. They gave him a cell phone. They said, and they actually say you can visit here. Do not go outside this certain mile radius.
Yeah.
Because right now, so they took his DNA. They found an individual whose DNA matched his DNA almost perfectly. This is how precise they were. So he's like, when you get the phone call, that means we're good. We're ready for you. He got the phone call. He got his brand new liver. He stayed there for an extra couple of days to make sure it wasn't rejected. They gave him the antibiotics and all this other stuff. And pretty much, the liver took. His body accepted it. He came back and lived a normal life. Okay, so mind you, they didn't tell him that they killed someone who they did a genetic sweep of. They killed that person because he was like a political dissident or whatever. And
gotta love those people that speak out against the system.
And they so they smoked that dude, took his liver, gave it to him, and he came back. Now of course he felt guilty after because he didn't know what went on behind the scenes. But this is the point just to land that topic, it is still very popular. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry that is happening to this day, and people are taking advantage of it from all over the world, including the United States, and now landed there.
No, that's perfect. That's a perfect place to end. I don't have much else to add to this. Great topic. Jeez. I was going to say, let's talk about the church and finances, but this was just too good of a topic. Anyway, I do want to thank you for this. Holy jeez. Do you want to...
And I'll send you some links to some of the stuff I was talking about.
Please do. Please do. I'd love to add some of this stuff. I really would. Oh, man. The future is exciting until you start thinking about, what it would... the cost to get there, the roads, all of that stuff, the bridges. Then you start questioning whether or not it's worth it.
Well, it's worth it if you want to live your best life with the help of technology. And you're talking about, and of course,
the systems,
and of course, the stuff is not cheap. So I only have 3 words for you for that: make more money.
Being a wage slave for a better cause. In the case of being paid X amount, working off your debts, because you know what, some things are actually worth getting in debt for. I'll agree with that. I really will. It's just you got to be wise, be smart, make your investments on whether or not this is something you can achieve, and how is it going to help you. That's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll end here. This is perfect. I want to thank you so much.